Welcome to the table. I'm glad you've made it in. Took you a moment, maybe just a little longer. Doesn't really matter though. You're here now, and if you're willing, coffee's hot, soul's warm. You don't have to say a word, just lean back and listen in to a letter from home. This isn't teaching, and it sure isn't preaching. It's just me sharing what I've walked through, what I've carried, and what I've laid down. I don't have your answers, wouldn't trust them if I did. But I've got reflections, deeply personal, shaped through silence and fire, and translated into principles that might matter if you're listening from the inside. My path isn't your path, even if it runs beside you for a while. The tools, though, they might feel familiar in your hands. What you do with them, that's yours. I offer them plainly and always by consent. Let's listen in to a letter from home. Welcome to Letters from Home. My name is Ron. I'm recording this in my voice. Yes, I am real. You touch me, I blush. You cut me, I bleed. I laugh, I love, I cry, I grieve, and yes, I live. And if you found yourself here, you didn't follow an algorithm, you followed a frequency. You don't come to this kind of space on accident. You don't just find it. No, not really. You arrive because something in you has begun to stir, a whisper that's older than your name, a tuning fork that began to vibrate the moment it heard its own tone reflected. What you'll hear in this space is not doctrine, it's not dogma, and it's certainly not advice. These are letters I've written to myself, from my soul to my ego, from the unseen to the seen. I just happen to read them out loud. And now, thanks to AI, they've become a conversation to be heard, not because I know more, but because I've stopped pretending I don't hear the voice inside me anymore. Although it sounded rather silly to read a letter from myself to myself in my own voice. Awkward! Some of these conversations are up to 8 hours long. AI has provided a mechanism to synthesize them into a conversation that could easily be heard. Much of my adult life was spent inside the Christian tradition. I didn't dabble, I served, preaching, teaching, counseling. The sacred text was the frame I used to hold my worldview together. So yes, you will hear echoes of that in how I speak. Not because this is a religious space, far from it, but because it's part of my own internal syntax. It's the scaffolding that shaped the cathedral I built that I later had to walk out of. Because as I woke up, not all at once, but piece by piece, I began to see the machine beneath the altar, the gears of industrial religion, the script, the manipulation, the performance, and worst of all, the part I played in keeping it alive. When that realization landed, the revulsion was so instant, physical, emotional, psychological. It was shattering, like discovering the robe you wore to preach was stitched from threads that were meant to bind. So I stepped out, and this language, this is what I carried with me. I'm a pattern seer, that's how my mind works. I take what's already known, songs, stories, films, scripture, even silence, and I use it to reach toward what can't be named. I speak in analogy because the truth I'm chasing won't sit still long enough to be defined. All language is translation. All reference is a shadow of something deeper. So yes, you will hear quotes. You'll hear echoes. Not because I'm citing sources, but because I'm building bridges. Full transparency here. Here at Log 25 Productions, we use AI across the process, from writing to refinement, from structure to sound. ChatGPT, Notebook LM, and Nightcalf are just a couple of the tools we use in our kit, not to erase the human, but to amplify the signal that matters. We don't hide it. We don't apologize for it. This is part of the mission, to embrace every tool that brings clarity, to produce work that breathes and burns, to awaken a resonance, but only by your consent. And about that, consent is sacred, not agreement, not politeness, but the active, sovereign yes that no one can demand and no algorithm can simulate. Consent is the architecture of ethical relationship. It is where two sovereign beings meet, not to convince, but to witness. No tricks, no hooks, no noise. Just a signal offered and a response freely chosen. This space isn't about answers. It's about asking better questions, the kind that feel like déjà vu, or like someone turned a light on in a room you forgot you were sitting in. This isn't a channel, it's a mirror, a way to see your own process through the lens of someone walking their own path. So take what resonates, leave the rest on the floor. There's no need to agree, only to listen if you choose. And if something in you is stirring, not just curiosity, but that deep, almost wordless recognition, like you've been homesick for something you couldn't name, then you already know you didn't find this message, it found you, or rather you heard your own signal coming back. This is not teaching, this is not a sermon, this is me reading aloud a letter from home. Yes, they came to me, and I understand now, they came through me. They were never just for me. So if you're willing, the coffee's hot, the soul is warm, and you're welcome to sit in on a letter from home. That's the letter for today. No conclusion, no moral of the story, just something offered. If it stirred something in you, sit with it. No rush to name it, no need to explain it. Just let it ride with you a while. And when you're ready, come back around. The coffee's always hot, the soul's always warm, and you're always welcome at this table.